Day to remember with bad vibrations. Some of you are probably getting bad vibrations considering I'm talking about a day to remember. Yeah, a couple of years ago I famously called these guys a band to forget in a band review. If anybody wants to go back and watch that video and, yell at me and call me a stupid idiot, go for it. Have fun. Have your Chris Jericho moment. This is going to be handled a little bit more objectively and constructively. So let's talk about this band. Let's talk about this album. Bad Vibrations is their first album in, I believe, 3 years since Common Courtesy was released, and this is one where they used that time sort of to their advantage. They've been writing for this album for the past year, and they really didn't write it with a very large sense of urgency. They wrote together for the first time in quite some time, and did so in the same room, in the same house, blah, 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 whatever. So this band combines pop punk with a little bit of post-hardcore. There is some metalcore influences in there, and every so often you see a shred of deathcore, and some would even say maybe a little hint of thrash here and there. Not really, not really, not really. But Bad Vibrations, the very first cut off of this album, the title track off of this one, certainly showcases some of the metalcore tendencies that you hear, and that aggression that you hear a little bit within this track. Some may confuse with thrash, considering it does have more of an aggressive bite to it, and this definitely has a little bit more speed, a little bit more of that quickness and pace, really working to its advantage, but the metalcore side really comes into the way in which the overall scope of this track is constructed, and you hear a little bit of punk really whispered within the chorus and whispered within some of the other elements of this song. And really, as an opener, this is pretty good. But if there's one thing that I remember from doing research for the Day to Remember video, which was really doomed to be a bad one from the start, was that I always tended to really kind of dig their opening cuts. They always seemed to have some strong material right out of the gate, and then somewhere along the lines it just sort of imploded, it sort of evaporated, and they lost my overall interest. And it's mainly because of this combined effort that they sometimes really liked to exude in some of their material, trying to throw that pop punk together alongside with the post-hardcore, alongside with the metalcore, kind of throw it all into a pot. And in some cases it works out, and in other cases it really begs to be handled on an individual basis. Now this is an album where it is handled on a little bit more of an individual basis, because Paranoia, the very next cut, definitely feels like it's straight out of really the punk playbook, and we're talking like the Bad Religion style punk playbook, and I really dig this track a lot. I believe that it was one of the theme songs for a recent WWE pay-per-view, and it kind of made sense. But as a song, this is one that's really hard to want to turn off. Even if you're not a fan of this group and you listen to it, there's a good chance that you're going to listen to this and at least factor in the idea that it's okay. I personally really dug this track a lot, thought it was a great follow-up to Bad Vibrations. But then Naivety really pushes a little bit more toward that pop-punk envelope, a little bit more leaning toward that side of this band's sound, and that's, again, pop-punk just hasn't ever universally been my thing, and it's kind of where I get lost a little bit, and it's where I kind of go and sort of waver a bit and want to skip around. That's just a personal preference. It has absolutely nothing to do with anything that the band is doing wrong, because they're not. They basically expose in these first 3 tracks the 3 elements of their side, the 3 sides of their musical identity. And they're able to do so with enough proficiency that it certainly begs a little bit of that crossover, construction, or that crossover argument. So, even though Naivety to me is not a strong song, to those who are lovers of pop punk, it may actually be a very strong track that really has a lot to offer. What's interesting is that Expose, the very next track, is one that almost takes on some deathcore ideas. It's one that slows things down a bit, uses some big-time crushing, thunderous riffs in order to try to deliver its message, and it's one that almost would make you think that this is a group from the pop-punk department or the post-hardcore department that's trying to invade that territory. And of course, that means that all true deathcore and slam fans are getting absolutely absurdly upset. Calm down, calm down. There's still, that new Infinite Annihilator. And if you don't like that, then do you really, really like that style of music? You might just be a moron. But this is a track that's fairly decent going into Bullfight, which has an introduction and immediately reminds me of a band that we just talked about, which is Billy Talent's. We talked about them about a month ago with their brand new album, Afraid of Heights. I kind of like that guitar tone. It's one of the main reasons why Billy Talent as a band is kind of seductive to me. It's one that's always stuck by me, and it probably doesn't hurt that I've been following their career for 15 years, but either which way, it makes Bullfight actually become kind of a nicer track for me, and it also opens up and goes 4.5 minutes and doesn't feel like it's overloaded with fluff. It feels like all of those moments have absolute necessity to be there, as opposed to just feeling like it's a track that's been haphazardly tossed together with an introduction to seduce people in. Now, I'm going to jump a little bit further down on this one, and I'm just going to mention the fact that there are tracks in the middle like 6, 7, and 8, so we're talking Reassemble, Justified, and We Got This, that once again kind of emanate similar ideas that we've gotten from the start. You know, showcasing on a little bit more of an individual basis the individual sides of this band, the 3 different hats that this band is willing to wear. These are tracks that are trying to combine things a little bit more. It does register a little bit more in the way of maturity, but it's also, to me, tracks that feel a little bit unremarkable as far as the overall scope of things. But whenever we get into songs such as Turn Off the Radio, the very first thing that I think about whenever I hear some of the choruses or the bridges, whatever you want to call it, those higher register vocals, is almost like a Day to Remember, paying a little bit of tribute to a band such as Fall Out Boy, and really doing so with a way that feels like it makes a lot more sense, considering it's offsetting some more aggressive, heavier vocals. So that combination feels a little bit more, I guess, standard to the post-hardcore playbook, and it plays by the rules very nicely. Based off of that sort of clash of the, that cascade or that clash of the titans there, makes this track pretty enjoyable also. So we already have something that's boosting up the tail end of this a little bit more. Same About You and Forgive and Forget, however, sort of screech that whole progress thing that we were just feeling about and feeling through, and just sort of keeps things dialed back a bit. And I feel that Forgive and Forget is a bit of a weaker, but it's meant to be more of a, introspective finale for the basic edition of this. There's 2 bonus tracks that you get in the deluxe edition, and I get that that's something that will probably get the yayas out for some of the long-term fans of this band. However, for me, it just felt a little bit underwhelming. With an album such as this that has a lot of, real energy going forward, to end it on something that's not really matching up to that energy level, at least not from minute or second 1 all the way to the very final moment of this nearly 5-minute long cut, feels a little bit like a mistake. And that's, again, based highly on opinion, based off of what A Day to Remember is able to accomplish. This may be the track that most people find to be the most helpful to them. This is a band that has a tour they call the Self-Help Tour, because the music has been helping people. Okay. So maybe this is the track that's meant to be more for those people, as opposed to really just caring about how to end an album. But as a reviewer, I have to look at that as potentially a little squandering of an opportunity. So A Day to Remember to me still registers as a group that is not for me. There are individual moments on this album that I find genuinely enjoyable. I'm the first one to admit that, and admit that without any sort of sense of rejection toward my ideals or rejection toward the things that I may have said a couple of years ago. A couple of years ago, my feelings toward a lot of things were very, very different. We change as people. We morph as people. And one of the keynote elements of being a reviewer that is, I guess, taken a little bit more seriously, amazingly enough, it's hard for me to imagine that to be true, but I guess it is that you do have to look at things through an objective spyglass. Now, for me, this is an album that's only like a 73, principally because it doesn't speak to me the same way as it may for somebody who happens to be a fan of his music. Now, somebody who happens to be a fan of it may see this as something in the high 80s, really a showcase of A Day to Remember's remarkable diversity. And if that's the case, this is actually what I'm going to do for you. I'm actually going to invite each and every person who watched this video and has listened to this album to place their score in the comments below, because I want to know what you think about this disc. If this is something where you're a fan of this band and you've listened to this album, put your score and tell me why. And tell me that you're a fan. If you're not a fan of this band, put your score, but make sure you've listened to the album. Please, let's not do this fake shit. This fake shit really accomplishes nothing, and it's just going to brew chaos. But if you want to brew chaos, I guess, have at it. What did you guys think about Bad Vibrations from A Day to Remember? Honestly, the first time I heard this title, I thought it was going to be some sort of cheap homage to the Beach Boys. And I learned that that wasn't the case, and it instantly got a little bit more credibility with me. Tell me what you think in the comments below. My name is CoverKillernation, and I'll catch each and every one of you guys next time. Take care.